Badgerland Mining Club has decided to merge with Quantum Expeditions. So we are going to merge into one company, and basically stronger together is the mentality. And when I was approached with this opportunity through a mutual contact, I was a little taken aback at first. I was like, shit, somebody's doing what I'm doing. But then I'm like, take a step back again and looked at the team, looked at what they're doing, and I was like, we're aligned on a lot of things. So let's see what we can do together. The more we talk, the more it made sense. So
awesome. So if I understood you correctly, Badgerland Mining Club is merging with Quantum Expeditions.
Yep. Yeah. So, and we will be Quantum Expeditions moving forward.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got the alpha on the YaBonks show, and I know a lot of the I know a few of my YaBonks community members are big fans of Badgerland Crypto and Badgerland Mining Club. So that is super exciting news, and I'm sure everybody's going to love to learn all about that and how it's going to benefit everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to get into it. So
awesome. Hey, everybody. It's Alex here, and on today's episode of The YaBonks Show, I have 4 very special guests with me today. I have Doug, Trent, Justin, and Maddie, and they are with me here from Quantum Expeditions, Inc., a Bitcoin mining company in Texas, in the United States. Do you guys want to say hi to the audience and maybe introduce yourselves one by one, starting with you, Doug?
You bet. I'm Doug Hardwick. I'm here in Dallas, Texas, of our headquarters for our company. Yeah, I'm the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. So I've mostly been involved in finding the energy and working with other team members on other projects, making sure everything comes together.
Awesome. Sounds good. And what about you, Maddie? Do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name is Matti Greenspan. I'm the founder and CEO of Quantum Economics, a firm that does research and advisory in the crypto space. I was the senior market analyst at eToro, where I worked for 7.5 years, leading many of their most awesome campaigns. And I am a licensed portfolio manager in the European Union with the SISEC Advanced Examination, co-author of the book, The Complete Guide to FinTech Investing, and named top 100 movers and shakers in the blockchain industry by Cointelegraph.
Wow. And Trent, do you want to go next?
Sure. My name is Trent Stevens. I live in Kansas City. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Quantum Expeditions, and I have turned into a hunting for energy specialist. So it's been a lot of fun.
And Justin, what about you?
I'm Justin Kramer, or Badgerland Crypto. I live here in Wisconsin, and my role with the company, I think we're going to get into here right now.
All right. And right before we get into that, do one of you want to explain what Quantum Expeditions is? Can I get an elevator pitch or a brief overview of what Quantum Expeditions is?
Sure, I'll take that one. So Quantum Expeditions is a spinoff of Quantum Economics. We use some of our same officers, and basically we were doing research about 2 years ago into Bitcoin mining, and at the time, energy usage of Bitcoin mining was a very hot topic. We had, Elon Musk and Tesla and all of those type of things. And we stumbled on that Bitcoin mining was extremely profitable at the time. And if you'll recall, there was a specific point in history when China decided to kick out all of their Bitcoin miners in a day. We saw the hash rate plummeting, and we go, "Hey, this is our chance." And a man named Maaz Sultan, he's our CSO, came to me and said, "Hey, Matti, we've got this. We've got everything we need over here. Let's go for it." So we put together a company. We raised a seed round. Even while Terra Luna was crashing, we were able to raise $350,000 from our seed investors, which were all just readers of the Quantum Economics newsletter, followers of myself on Twitter, that showed tremendous confidence in us while the world was burning in a very, this is fine meme fashion. We've since then put all of the things that we need together, basically all the land agreements, permits, power purchase agreements, everything that we need to have a very good start. And we are now moments away from our first deployment. As well, we have just put together a crowd fund, which is to take advantage of the United States' Regulation CF, which will allow us to raise funds from the public, from any investor, from $100 all the way up to $1 million.
Wow! So that is a jam-packed history right there of this endeavor. And for those who don't know, crowdfunding, a Form C or CF, is SEC regulated. So this is a crowdfunding done through the SEC. Okay, so this isn't like a GoFundMe or anything like that. This is an SEC filing here.
We're for regulation purposes, and to add a disclaimer on that, and I know that you before the show you told me you've done a few of these, so definitely what our attorney has told us is to just shy away from any kind of language that says that the SEC is watching us. We file a Form C with the SEC, but we do not have their stamp of approval or anything like that.
Okay. And everybody can go read your Form C on the SEC website if they want. It's jam-packed full of information. It's quite a juicy read, if you ask me. And I need like my glasses to push up. Now, before we get into there you go. Before we get into all this, I want to break down your business plan and what you guys foresee for the future. But Justin, I know you're itching to let us know. So before we get started, do you have any important news or announcements that you guys want to let us know about?
Yeah, so Badgerland Mining Club has decided to merge with Quantum Expeditions. So we are going to merge into one company, and basically stronger together is the mentality. And when I was approached with this opportunity through a mutual contact, I was a little taken aback at first. I was like, shit, somebody's doing what I'm doing. But then I'm like, take a step back again and looked at the team, looked at what they're doing. And I was like, we're aligned on a lot of things. So let's see what we can do together. The more we talk, the more it made sense. So
awesome. So if I understood you correctly, Badgerland Mining Club is merging with Quantum Expeditions.
Yep. Yeah. So, and we will be Quantum Expeditions moving forward.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got the alpha on the YaBonks show, and I know a lot of the I know a few of my YaBonks community members are big fans of Badgerland Crypto and Badgerland Mining Club. So that is super exciting news, and I'm sure everybody's going to love to learn all about that and how it's going to benefit everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to get into it. So
awesome. So I guess first thing I wanna ask you guys, is Bitcoin the only thing that you guys plan to mine?
For the foreseeable future, yes. I mean, I'll never say never, but yeah, for the foreseeable future, it's going to be Bitcoin.
Okay, awesome. And will those ASIC miners be mining Bitcoin in Texas only?
I wouldn't say that at this stage. It's possible. Our home base is Texas. We have a power purchase agreement there that literally unlocks a huge abundance of power. But we also have other opportunities going on at the same time. And this business is all about a constant search for hash rate. So that means a constant search for cheap and reliable energy, and a constant search for more machinery. And we're going to go wherever the wind takes us. But our home base is Texas, basically.
Okay. And were there any specific reasons why you chose Texas to start?
Doug, you want to go for that one?
You bet. Energy. Texas is known for energy. And, not only do we have enormous amounts of oil and gas, which I've been a part of for the last 20 plus years, but we also have more windmill farms than any state in the country, and an enormous amount of solar panels in our state. So there is an abundance of energy. And so now it's just, like they said, where can we find the most reliable energy that we can mine from, at the right price? And so that's kind of where I came in, and with our connections, we were able to get a power purchase agreement with a lot of competition, I might add. And the only reason that we were able to do that is because their office was about a mile east of this road named after my granddaddy. And so at the end of the day, they said, we want to do business with someone local. And that really kind of set the stage of where we are today.
Wow. So that just goes to show how important relationships are in business. Yeah. So are there any risks that you guys see with operating in Texas or the US or anything like that?
Well, as far as Texas is concerned, we have two huge things going for us. One is Texas is a little different than a lot of states. We like to be our own. We have our own grid, so when you look at the electric grid, Texas has its own electric grid called ERCOT. And then we also have what's called the Texas Blockchain Council, which we're a member of, a very proud member of. And they've done an omen's job of working with legislation in Austin to make sure that this state stays crypto friendly. And right now, there's more crypto being mined in Texas than any other state. Right. So, I hate the old proverbial, slapping in people's face that Texas is bigger. It's always bigger in Texas, but man, we got it.
The blockchain is bigger in Texas.
There you go. Windmills, gas, oil, and blockchain. You bet. Bitcoin.
And I've been hearing that a lot lately from mining companies, that Texas is a very hot spot right now. It's very desirable to mine there. Do you mind if I ask, with your power agreements, I don't know if you can disclose this or not, what your electricity rates will be? Can you disclose that?
You can certainly ask, but it would. First of all, we have several different deals that are in play at the moment, so that's one thing, and it would be against our interest to disclose the energy rates at this time. We just say that we have competitive rates that we're getting from the suppliers.
It was good enough that I came on board.
Yeah. And I know I know we've talked, Justin, about other opportunities that you were fielding in the past with excellent electricity rates. So based off of that, I will assume you guys have something pretty nice for especially the United States.
Yeah. So definitely, it's very competitive, and it's going to put us in a position to get mining right away and start earning as much as we can before the halving and even through the halving. So I'm excited with where we're at. So
awesome. Now, does Quantum Expeditions own its own facility there for mining?
At the moment, not. We're about to do our first deployment, so we're moments away from that right now.
So, is the plan to buy land and build, or will you be leasing another facility from somebody else and putting miners in it. What's the plan there?
So go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, well, probably this is a Doug question, really, but yeah, our land lease is from the power company themselves. So the land belongs to the electric company, and it's right next to a very large substation where we could just plug right in. So it's just a picture perfect spot.
Okay, so the power company owns the land, and you will have an agreement that will allow you to build a mining facility on that land.
We'll drop some transformers on there, and then we'll be using containers for deployment on that site.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And will those be air-cooled containers or hydrothermally cooled?
That's a Trent question.
Well, we're looking at, hey, how's it going? we're looking at all of them. I know that Antbox has one that doesn't need all the cooling stuff. It's a 750 kilowatt box. It's really good. The other ones air cooled, and if we need to, hydro cooled, depending on how hot and where the other spots that we're going to do it in Texas. But for the most part, it's going to be air cooled.
Yeah. So as you can see, we like flexibility. So we're definitely evaluating all our options so that right up until that last minute before we deploy, we know what our best option is. So
right.
I actually like the container style because if something happened with regulations or with jurisdictional issues, you can pick them up and move them somewhere else without having to completely dismantle an entire building.
Right.
So that's
you got to be flexible in this industry.
Absolutely. So how much are you guys trying to raise right now total? Like, what is your goal for fundraising, and what is the minimum that you need to get this off the ground?
We already have the money that we need to get the first deployment done. We also have other types of investments going on in tandem. So the crowdfund is obviously the one that we're here to speak about mostly today. But we have other deals in play as well. Every penny that we're raising is able to go directly into mining equipment and further the profits of the company. Our roadmap is as such right now that we believe that, first of all, should this crowdfund be successful, we're allowed to raise up to $1.2 million on this round.
Nice.
And then we can possibly do another crowdfund, albeit probably at not as good terms. But certainly we could do another one for approximately $5 million. After that, we're looking at a Series A, which would be a priced round with VCs and larger institutional investors. And nothing is locked in at the moment. As I said, we're remaining flexible, but I believe that we could be thinking about an IPO even within 5 years from now. Our target and roadmap has us at $1 billion company by then.
Wow.
And I guess kind of piggybacking off that, I know your audience, and some people might say Series A, IPO, and might not believe we can get there. But I mean, this team is an incredible team. I mean, it's one of the main reasons I joined is for the team. So they've done this before, and they know what they're doing. They know how to get us there.
The bottom line for me is that we're really flexible, and we really portray to a bunch of different markets and different people, all the way from the avid Bitcoin miner all the way to the environmentalist, because we are looking to help grids out and try to be green energy. And so we're going to be able to do all of it.
Awesome. So,
which you might not think about it like that, but it's actually it's a huge plus when we're talking and negotiating with energy companies,
Right.
Because they're very excited about being able to balance their load, to be able to continue, because they have very inconsistent demand. So to see suddenly a consistent demand where they could say, okay, we might need this power for some very short portion of the time during the year, and they could just put us on the slope or even shut us off, but the rest of the year keep going. That's very exciting for them, and we've been able to use that successfully in our negotiations.
Right. So they call it an interruptible rate, and that interruptible rate allows us to be able to go in and be like a battery for the grid. Let's just say we deploy a 5 megawatt site, and that 5 megawatt site is there ready for them to shut off at any time if there's an emergency for hospitals or anything, and it kind of stabilizes the grid for them. And so it also helps them with their extra electricity that they have. So in turn, we get a better rate, and then we go ahead and we can do that in any market, whether it's wind. We also like off the grid stuff as well. So it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective that you don't hear talked about all too much out here in some of the circles I run with, that, you know, the glut of energy at sometimes versus others can be used to your benefit for negotiating better electricity rates like that. It's cool. It's good thinking.
Bitcoin is healing the world, man.
Yeah, it really, a lot of people, I mean, it's starting to get more mainstream that Bitcoin's actually better for
the benefits of it.
Yeah, for the grid health and efficiency, and preventing electric and economic waste.
Yep.
So I love that. You guys put that very well, of how you guys are specifically going to use that to the benefit of yourselves and investors. So for my audience or anybody who's looking at participating in quantum expeditions, what does that look like for them? How do they get involved?
Yeah, so first of all, we have a Discord server. We're hanging out there during regular business hours. You can come in and ask questions that you have, join the community. We're also, I mentioned before, the crowdfund page, so you can come and take a look at that. We've just put together some really cool perks and stretch goals that are going to be fun, and I believe serve to build up a very fine community. This is literally what we're here to discuss right now, is how people can get involved and join in, because we're gonna do this anyways. I think it's going to be a lot more fun to do it with a lot of people, and to do it with a lot of awesome people, and help them get involved in a way, in an opportunity that is just, it's not available to everyday people on a regular basis. This is the type of opportunity that, generally speaking, only VCs and institutional investors are able to take advantage of. And here we've been doing this for the last 2 years, and just moments away from our first deployment. So you get to take advantage of all of that back research and get a pricing that is befitting to something that hasn't yet blown up.
Okay. And you mentioned the wefunder.com website, and that's wefunder.com/quantum expeditions. And then you guys also have quantumexpeditions.com that links to that. And they are managing the fundraising for the company. So that I'm assuming you use their portal and dashboard and everything like that to track how many shares of the stocks you bought, and to do KYC and all those things. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And they're the ones who filed the Form C on our behalf. Mm-hmm. So they're extremely professional. We did a lot of homework. You'll notice a pattern with me in quantum economics, and everything that I do is backed by lots and lots of research. And this is how we got to WeFunder. They've handled some very, very large crowd fund raises in the past, like You could go to Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but their raises are not nearly on the level that we're aiming to achieve. So WeFunder, I found extremely professional. Once we were in the door and they realized that we were serious, they're basically Johnny on the spot with every single question. They've got an amazing resource package that I've personally gone up and down, and most of the team, especially the ones who are on the marketing side, have studied it backwards and forwards. And yeah, they handled basically all of this. We just plug and play.
On the WeFunder website, it says there's a $100 minimum investment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to get involved, there's a minimum $100. And is there a maximum? If somebody wants to invest in here, is there a maximum amount?
Yeah, that's right. It actually depends on the person themselves, because the rules of the SEC for crowdfunding websites, for accredited investor, there's no maximum, only the maximum that I mentioned of the round previously, which is 1.235 million, 1,235,000. But as you go through the funnel, so you enter the amount that you want to invest there, and then they'll ask you your personal financial questions. And based on your personal financial questions, they'll be able to tell you how much your maximum is that you're allowed to invest. The maximum for anybody to invest, or the maximum that anybody in the world can invest, no matter what their financial situation, is $2,500. And we put a very special perk at that level as well.
And what is that very special perk?
Yeah. So we're coming out with a Bitcoin ordinal set, which is basically it's we've been looking at a lot of sketches and a lot of drawings, a lot of artists, interviewing them. I wanted this to be perfect. So we hope to, within the next few weeks, to start dropping some teasers, possibly even some giveaways. These are going to be exclusive, and they'll basically cement your position within the community.
Very cool. So if somebody invests the maximum amount of $2,500, they will get a perk, which is one of your custom Bitcoin ordinals, correct?
Yeah, well, a minimum. Anybody who invests $25,000 or more will get the ordinal.
2,500.
2,500. Thank you.
2,500.
Anybody who invests 2,500 or more will get the Bitcoin ordinal.
Okay, so if you invest a minimum of $2,500, you get one of these Bitcoin ordinals. And what aside from like looking cool and having like collectors collectability, will those grant any special access or rights to the holders of those ordinals?
No, absolutely not.
No, a member is a member.
It's just being part of the community. Okay. Certainly, if we would have, and several people said we should do staking. No, if we do staking, we get in trouble with the SEC, right. And we're not allowed to do that. So no, the investment is the investment. You invest because you believe in the opportunity, whether it's $100 or $50,000 or $100,000. You do it because of the opportunity, the valuation that you're getting for a company with a roadmap of $1 billion and a very solid team behind it. The rest of the perks and the stretch goals, they're for fun. They're literally for fun. The stretch goals are more fun for me because we have it you can see it at the bottom of the WeFunder page. We're designing a Bitcoin mining board game. Become a Texas mining giant. So basically, it's like and the way it reflects the way that I see the Bitcoin mining industry and I've found on the ground. Is a collaborative, competitive game. So everybody's trying to help each other out, but also, everybody's looking out for number one at the same time. So that if we raise a cumulative $500,000 from all investors, then we're going to deploy the game, and everybody gets it for cost price plus shipping and handling. And even if you only invested $100.
And my brothers and I are building the game, and the initial concept, it took us a bit to basically come up with a game and then try to tie Bitcoin to it, or mining to it. But we had a mini breakthrough, and we're meeting again this weekend here. I'm pretty I didn't want it to be a lame game. Like, I was like, is this gonna be lame? But it actually sounds kind of fun, like what we're doing. So I'm actually excited to play my own game, which is kind of cool.
That is very cool. That's a lot of fun. So if you guys hit your stretch goals, you will be releasing this board game called Texas Mining Giant, potentially, that you guys will allow the any investor to get at cost.
Correct. Anybody who's invested $100 or more is eligible to receive the game for whatever it costs us in production. I'm not going to lose money on it, but I'm not going to make money on it either. So the design is on us. We're gonna pay for the design of the game, the production of the game, plus shipping and handling, and you get it for that price. And then the second stretch goal, we only have 2 stretch goals, you can see, which is the image that you're showing. If we're able to raise $1 million in this round, we're going to have the awesomest desert rave, Bitcoin mining rave party. So I hope that you'll be able to join us, Alex, because I'm certainly looking forward to this one.
That sounds supply the goats. Super fun. Yeah, I'll bring the goats.
Goat yoga, let's go.
Oh man.
Yeah. Goat yoga in the desert. I love it. Please invite me if this happens. I will be there. So that's awesome. That's great. And then there are all sorts of other perks you guys can see. You got all sorts of different swag, sweatshirts, hats, hoodies, and yeah. So this wefunder.com page is jam packed full of information. And anybody looking to understand the value proposition, which is something I always try to cover here. What is the value proposition? And I guess now that people know how to get involved if they want to, and they kind of know what it is, in your opinions, what is the value proposition for an investor in Quantum Expeditions? Aside from this super cool custom board game potentially and a massive rave in the desert someday, what's the value proposition for end users?
I guess to me, the value proposition is that you get to take advantage of economies of scale as a smaller investor. So you don't, unless in mining right now, I honestly believe, and it makes me sad to say it, but mining at home on your own isn't going to be really feasible to do profitably in the future. Like if you're above 10 cents, it just doesn't make sense to do, even with the new heat recapture stuff that's coming out. It just doesn't make sense. So like the value prop here is you get to take advantage of us opening something at scale. You get reduced prices on everything there. And then the other thing too is it's an investment in a real company that you own shares in. So it's not a fly by night thing. You don't have to worry about that. And then the other thing that you'll probably see or maybe compare us to is some like passive income projects where you're earning a little bit every month. So this isn't necessarily that. You have a longer, roadmap to get to your dividends. But the upside that you get with this project is not obtainable with anything else that I've come across, and I've come across quite a bit. You don't see the ability to get the upside that you can get here anywhere else. So,
okay,
totally agree.
Doug, I'd like to hear you take a stab at that question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're getting a piece of the company, right? And so this is under a safe, which I know we haven't talked about that yet. We probably need to, but by getting future equity in a company that's designed for growth and the amount of energy that we can tie into to mine from over the next, many, many years from now, that makes a whole lot of sense. And so I've not mined like Mr. Badgerland, and he's got a lot more knowledge about that. But one thing I do know is we've got a company of a lot of different areas of expertise pulled together that you're riding the tail, the coattails of. And that to me means huge. It's a big deal, I think, for the individual that wants to be part of the mining community, but really can't get into it. And so we're literally bringing the whole mining industry to the individual investor for as little as $100. I mean, that's just not available out there that I've seen.
Yeah. And how much will each share cost an investor during this crowdfunding raise?
Yeah, that's a me question. I'm the chief financial officer. So the way that it works is it's being done through something called, as Doug mentioned, a SAFE, which stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. I just did a TikTok video about it, so you can take a look there. Basically, the way it works is that you are buying certificates that will convert into preferred stock in the company once the next valuation round happens. So a valuation, the idea of a SAFE was born from Y Combinator, which is a very famous VC. And basically it's designed so that people can get involved in startup companies that you don't know the valuation of yet, right? There hasn't been a massive appraisal of the company. And the certificates that you're buying in the SAFE will convert into equity at the next priced round. So a priced round is usually like a Series A or an IPO, where there's a lead investor, and the lead investor does the research on the company, sees what, goes into the books and finds out what is this company worth, what's the future value of the company, and they put a price on the market cap. Right? We know market cap from crypto coins is basically the total number of shares times the current price, and that is the valuation of the company. So basically, the SAFE will, once we do the next price round, the SAFE will convert into those preferred shares, and you hold on to those stocks just like you would hold Tesla, Apple, Amazon, or Google stock in your portfolio. And then, of course, once we start paying out dividends, you'll get those automatically transferred into your bank account. Obviously, with the disclaimer from the SEC that dividends are not guaranteed, and past performance is not an indication of future results. The valuation that we have put on this one and is different for early birds, as you can see on the WeFunder page. Basically, the valuation that we had in the seed round, which I mentioned previously, was $20 million for the company. And we've priced this as slightly higher for the early bird investors, have a valuation cap of 25 million. So what that means is that whatever the price round is, if it's under 25 million, that's what you're getting. But if it's over 25 million, then you're really making bank, because then you're buying something of higher value for a lower value. So let's say you bought in at 25 million, and then we go to our next price round, the Series A, comes out to be 50 million, you've doubled your money in a day, right? So that's basically how it works as far as the equity percentage.
Interesting. So it's a simple agreement for equity, a SAFE, and that is basically preferred stock that gets converted at a future valuation based on the next fundraising's market cap.
That is exactly correct.
Okay.
Give the man a button.
Yep.
Yes, that's exactly.
Hey. Screw engineering. I'm going into accounting.
It's funny though. As hard as that sounds, and as hard as some people think that the blockchain and all the information and all that stuff is, that's why this is a great spot to be at, because we've simplified it, and as little as $100 you can get in and be a part of it, and that should make a lot more people excited about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is about as early as it gets. I do believe for something like this. Do you have a strategy? Okay, so before I get to your exit strategy, you mentioned dividends. So at some point, these stocks, once they've converted to common stock, or however this is going to work with the SAFE thing, will that pay out dividends at some point?
Yes. Well, I mean, again, the disclaimer that we cannot guarantee dividends.
Assuming profitability,
that
assuming
is
you
the
guys
plan.
have the profits to pay them out.
It is how all of the exactly, yes. It is how we've designed this specifically. All of the people on this panel, most of the people on this panel are on sweat equity, which means that not getting salaries at the moment, and most of the people on the team in general. And it is our way of saying, okay, this is what is going to be worth to us, is the equity that we have. And the way that it's going to be extracted is through the dividend. So whenever we get paid, the investors are getting paid as well.
And the cool thing about the dividends that I thought is if you have an investment of over 50,000, you can have those dividends paid to you in Bitcoin. That'll be an option that we have.
Oh, wow. That would be very
cool. That's under the perks as well.
So how much do you have to have invested to get payouts of the dividends in Bitcoin? Did you say
50,000 right now?
50,000. Okay.
50,000.
So $50,000 minimum investment, and you can get the potential future dividends paid out directly in Bitcoin to you. That's very cool. I like that. And then I'm assuming for everybody else, it would just be like standard ACH deposits. Would that be a monthly dividend or a quarterly? How would that work?
Quarterly, usually.
Okay. Quarterly dividends, assuming profitability, and that would be also how you guys are planning on paying yourselves for all the work to run the company. So you guys are doing sweat equity right now, investing your time, energy, and capital into this thing. And then if the business plan is a success and is profitable, you guys will be reaping the rewards in the form of those dividends along with the rest of the investors. And do you, with all your projections, and Maddie, I know you've probably got spreadsheets for days. Do you have timelines in like a average case scenario where you would think dividends might be realistic?
Yeah, it's a good question. And what with everything that's crypto, we want to look at the cycles, right? As we know, and I'm sure you're familiar with, this 4-year cycle revolving around the halving. And we're starting right now, April 25th. It's on my cal. I've got actually the countdown on a dedicated. I've got 4 monitors in front of me. It's right there. 182 days as of this recording. And yeah, we're just taking off at exactly the right time for this. So should all go well. And of course, past performance is not an indication of future results. Within the next 3 years, we should be looking at peak of the next cycle. And that's the point where we'd be looking to start taking profits from this thing.
Okay. So in the meantime,
just think of it as like a compounding period, essentially. So there's other projects out there, those passive income ones, they don't pay out for 6 months so that they can grow and things like that. It's exactly what we're doing, except we're doing it on a massive scale.
So you'll be just reinvesting into more capital, more machines, more
infrastructure,
more space.
You can't get to $1 billion by squandering your income. And I don't know how much you know about me and my background, but I've literally seen, I've worked as an insider in many different online brokers over the last 15 years.
I've used eToro back in the day.
Awesome. And I've literally seen tens of thousands of people personally get slaughtered by trying to trade the markets, trade with leverage. eToro is one of the good ones, by the way. Their profitability is much better than anything else in the market, but it still isn't great for the individual investor. I would say that the odds are stacked against you.
Always.
And what I
retail
found,
investors always,
you're the mark.
Yeah.
Basically, and I've seen people come in with large amounts of money and high hopes, or even small amounts of money, and they want to make $1 million in a day, and it almost never works out. I could probably count on one hand the amount of people I've seen who are able to do short-term trading and make consistent gains.
Right.
On the other hand, what I have seen many times before are the people who just think about things long-term, or they didn't even forget they had the investment, right? They just made the investment. They didn't log in for years. And suddenly they go, oh, wow, look at that. I got a lot of money. And that happens in crypto. We know also, I forgot about this wallet, or, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that coin. All of a sudden, the only way that you can do that is with a long-term investment without, sitting there and itching in front of the computer, because when you overanalyze things, and the internet does this very well, it gives people the ability to just second guess themselves on a regular basis. And what you need to do is you need to make a commitment, and you need to think about it long-term. And for me, it's always been even more, but one step further is adding value, right? And saying, okay, how can I help this company, this project build and make it grow, and at the same time, reap the rewards of it once that goes forward. And I've done that successfully many times before.
My question to follow that is, what do you believe is the value added above and beyond just investing directly into Bitcoin versus investing into quantum expeditions?
Yeah, so I think Doug was on the AMA the other day, and he explained it very well, right? It's just like mining physical gold, right? You could buy gold, right, and you can hold on to it for a while, and that's a speculative play, or you can go out and dig for it, and the people who are going out and putting the work in. It's a different industry, and you have different risks and rewards. I believe that as an investor, people should diversify in every way that they can. I'm not going to say to anybody, hey, this is the one investment that you should make in your lifetime. People should always build a portfolio, do your research and have a diversified portfolio. Think long-term. This is how you make money in the market. So if you believe in the power of Bitcoin, you believe in its longevity, that it's going to last a very long time into the future, then you should be holding physical Bitcoin. You should be holding companies that are involved in Bitcoin, and you should be holding companies that are mining Bitcoin.
Yep, and I am actually doing all of those. So I have a very similar mindset about diversification. So I diversify into holding Bitcoin itself and getting exposure through Bitcoin mining companies and startups. Do you believe that if this is wildly successful and you get to that $1 billion valuation, that like if I put in like $100 into this, do you think that $100 could potentially outperform me putting in $100 into Bitcoin that same day? And just hypothetical, not financial advice, or this is all under assumptions and everything, but if you had to guess, what if this is wildly successful and you make that $1 billion valuation?
I'm not. Well, Justin and I did the calculation just yesterday.
Really?
Justin, why don't you tell them?
All right. So we did look at this. So if you basically divide $1 billion by 25 million, you get 40. So if you put $100 into this, you're going to get a 40x multiple on that, putting you at $4,000. So that's what the math that says. That's what it is. Our goal, and we have every intention of getting there, is to 40x your money. That's on our roadmap. Is it going to be 40x overnight? No. It's going to be a journey to get there. But I'm very confident that we will, and that people won't be disappointed in their investment.
Well, that is awesome. That's a bold claim, and I like it. So, and that's assuming the $1 billion valuation after however many years.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's half that, then you're at 20x. That's 5. Yeah. So I mean, it's just a matter of doing the math of how much you put in and what you want to exit at, essentially.
And that's just
it's also not a very aggressive target, Alex.
Yeah.
Riot blockchain right now in the depths of the bear market is worth 1.68 billion. So,
and then would you be including potential dividends projections in that 40x, or is that just purely like market cap?
That's just purely the stock. So I mean, if you own a stock that's worth $100 and then it 40x's, like it's worth 4,000, and whatever dividends you got leading up to that is just the gravy on top.
Excellent information. Okay. And my next question, since we covered the dividends and the potential valuations, if you guys hit your targets, what is your exit strategy? Do you have an exit strategy?
I'm not leaving, man. That's
why it's called HODL.
Yeah, in the words of the Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not selling. No, there's no exit strategy here. We plan on continuing to build this thing, continuing to search for cheap and reliable renewable energy. We were already started the process and research in some proprietary energy forms, which these things take a while. And yeah, no, it's just the hash rate, I believe, will continue to rise on that same level that it's been rising since Bitcoin was born, that hockey stick chart that never changes, except for that one day when China kicked all their miners out.
Yeah.
For that one exception, that hash rate has been on an upward trajectory its entire existence, and I believe it will continue that way for another 100 years at least.
Okay, so you don't plan on selling. Do you plan on going public at some point? You do.
I hope so. I'm not going to guarantee that right now, but I given market conditions, and I've seen a lot of things, and you can't really know the future. So it might be advantageous to continue being private for a private company for a very long time into the future. But I do hope that at one point we'll have an IPO, go public, get to ring the bell on Wall Street. It's or whatever exchanges are doing at that point. We'll see.
Yeah. Now, how would I, as an investor, take profit in that situation? If you guys there's not gonna be a sell or an acquisition, and there's not gonna be an IPO for a while. Is there going to be any kind of OTC or over-the-counter marketplace for investors in your private company, or will you do deals yourselves to buy back stock from investors? How is that going to work?
That is an excellent question, Alex. And to be completely fair with you, it's not one that I've heard before, and it isn't one that we've really considered. I do own equity in private companies, and I know that there are kind of private company marketplaces. They're not always extremely accessible. Sometimes you need to be an accredited investor to use them. Sometimes there are different terms and conditions for that. I'll look into it, and I would say that's a fair question. But for us, it's about the long term and about the dividends that we'll be able to be extracting, and then those longer term goals.
Okay, and that's always something I want to know is how liquid am I in this investment?
What's the parachute plan kind of thing?
Yeah, and what's my timeline looking like? So this is a long-term investment, and the dividends are probably something that could start recouping, my initial at some point in the next bull cycle when things are really, really good for everybody. So
which is the usual disclaimer, right? Do not invest more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
Or money that you need for any other reason. This is money that you can feel comfortable locking away for a while, and then when it comes back, hopefully will come back with a very full force.
And that's something I like to point out is this isn't like buying and selling Bitcoin. This is investing in a fintech startup in an emerging sector that has potentials for 20 or 40 X's. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, you're going to have a higher risk of locking up funds in a more illiquid position for maybe a little bit to potentially get those 20 or 40 X's. Whereas something like Bitcoin, maybe in the next bull run, you get a 6, maybe a 10X. If you time it, if you time it perfectly, the likelihood of timing it perfectly is like almost none. But like for most people, but like
even for experienced professionals, I can attest to that.
Yeah. And so I like to always kind of paint that in terms of like a diversification strategy for just your regular Joe Schmo like me out here living on a farm, right? I'm like, okay, I want some Bitcoin, and I'll probably sell at the peak of the next bull run. Then maybe I'll invest in some private startup companies, like I'm a VC or something in Silicon Valley, right? Like I'm on Shark Tank, and
that's the point.
Yeah, and maybe that $100 turns into $4,000, and maybe I get myself a new used pickup truck in a couple years. You know what I mean?
Or tires in that pickup truck.
Yes.
It is the entire point of it is, and that's how the VCs work as well, right? When they make an investment, they don't expect it to be liquid. They're looking to invest in the next Twitter or the next Uber, right? And that's why we're able to. And they're not usually coming in with $100. I would say if anybody's going to come in with $100, it's probably not for the wait for 4 or 5 years for $5,000. It's going to be probably about the perks more than anything and being part of the community and the journey. For larger investors, I would say that's the mindset that we are looking at, right? Which is the same as any other VC or institutional investor. They're not looking for liquid. They're looking for longevity and for maximum ROI.
Right. And when I'm looking at longer term stuff like this, especially in startups, I always say, don't go all in on anything, use money that you can afford to lose that you set aside for this kind of thing. And say I have 10 different startup companies and I want to have a little piece of each. And I'm hoping just a couple of them get that 20 or 40X that more than makes up for that initial outlay. If even one of them is that successful.
It just takes one.
Just takes one.
I literally seen VCs like that. They made one investment right, and that was they made the rest of their career, and they made 50 or 100 investments, and just that one that brings it all back and makes everything more than worthwhile. And they ride that forever. They're like, I'm one of the first investors in that company, and then they have endless opportunities available to them.
Right. So I always think that's a great way to look at it. I'm glad you agree. Sometimes companies or projects come on my channel and are like, go mortgage the house and get in on this. Otherwise, you're going to miss the opportunity of a lifetime. And it's just like, be realistic and responsible. So I like that you guys are very, seems like you guys are being very fiscally responsible with how you guys are presenting this information. And I respect that a lot. So, I've got a couple other questions here. I've actually got like 3 pages of questions, but
Wow.
I could pick this apart all day. I love this stuff. Really, this is super exciting for me. So we went through your the exit strategy, and potentially you guys have an IPO years down the road, and with $1 billion+ valuation, meaning you're looking at like a 40x if that happens, plus dividends along the way. So that's very cool. And that's those are the main value proposition questions I have. So I think for the investor's perspective, at this point, I think they have a good idea of what it takes to get involved in this and to invest in this startup, and what it could look like if you guys hit your goals on your roadmap. So did I miss anything in terms of the value proposition there that you guys think people should know about?
I think you hit it, and I have a strong feeling Trent is going to be up next.
I've got some questions now about logistics and infrastructure and things like that. So from the revenue that the miners generate, will you guys set aside a percentage of that for a sinking fund or a rainy day fund for maintenance, repairs, or replacement of those ASIC devices?
You absolutely have to. If you don't, you'll end up burying yourself. If you just spend, and you don't prepare for worst case scenarios, you're not safeguarding yourself at all. So the answer is absolutely yes. And for that matter, Maddie's the best at it. He plans for everything. He's taking notes on you right now.
Awesome. I'll be here all day, so go nuts.
I thought you were going to jump into the mining questions, honestly, but yeah, it's all
related.
I have to say though that I like to do a lot of research, and I've been impressed with your style as well. It's difficult to come by people who do the level of research that you do, and it's impressive, and hats off to you.
Hey, thank you. I just want to do a good job, and make sure that I'm providing value here myself, right?
It's not a day's work if you love what you're doing, right?
That's true. I do this day and night. I sometimes don't even sleep. I know that's not good for me, but
right.
DeFi is exciting. DeFi doesn't sleep. I know you guys have an international team. I'm talking with people. I have calls at 3 a.m, 3 p.m, and it's
welcome to our world.
Yeah, it's a wild time to be alive, really.
Yeah.
So with the miners, you do have that sinking fund in place, so that way, if anything happens, you guys will have capital on hand to get them fixed or replaced. Do those ASICs that you are buying, will they have a warranty or insurance of any kind on them?
Yeah, the ones that we'll buy are going to be new. I don't want to venture off into the used ones yet, but they're going to have warranties on them. Yes.
Okay. And do you know what devices you're eyeing at the moment, or maybe you already have some?
Well, you know that the Bitcoin game of mining is very competitive, and so we feel as a group that if we stay ahead of the game and try to get the biggest and the best, for us, we like the S21 and stuff like that, because it pays out 22% better than the rest of them, and it's more efficient in electricity, and that's always on our mind. And so, absolutely, stay on the forefront of it.
Okay, so you guys are going for the most profitable and efficient one, so you guys can mine with them as long as possible before something comes along and makes them obsolete, and then you have to upgrade.
Yep. Well, you know, on any side of the market that there's people that speculate one way and there's people that, speculate the other. And those right now that are speculating that nothing's going to happen after the halving and you're losing half of your stuff, they're going to sell their miners. So we're going to get those at a discounted rate as well. And so it's going to be good for both sides of it. So we know that if you take care of the miner, that the miner can last forever, especially with good ventilation and clean environment. And so we're going to try to maximize our income.
Yes, and I agree. These things will run forever if there's no manufacturing defects, and you keep the dust out of them and you keep them cool. They'll keep chugging along for many, many years.
As long as they're profitable.
Do you have a special partnership in place or relationship with an ASIC manufacturer or distributor?
All of the above.
Yeah, between Trent and I, we've got a number of connections that we're able to leverage, sometimes against each other, to our benefit. So it's definitely an advantage that you get with our company is our reach and our sources. So, like I think Trent's got a number that I don't have, and I have a number that he doesn't. But we've also got some overlap there, where we're both like, okay, we both trust the same people. So
right,
yeah. And I know Badgerland Mining Club and Badgerland Crypto buys and sells ASICs. Will you be utilizing that in any way?
Yeah, so we are going to allow, by the time this airs, it's going to be a quick turnaround for people to piggyback on it. But we are going to allow people to piggyback on our next order, so that you can get a lower MOQ, or minimum order quantity. So if you want one, you can order one at a fair price, not an obscenely marked up price. So that is something in a service that we're going to be offering people as well.
Interesting. So through Quantum Expeditions, people will be able to purchase ASIC miners at lower prices than they otherwise might be able to through your connections and infrastructure and everything you've set up with Badgerland Mining Club and Badgerland Crypto.
Yeah, I mean, along with Trent's too. I mean, I'd be the face, although maybe not the prettiest, but I'd be the face of it.
I don't know. You should see that. You should see that ordinal picture of Badgerland.
No spoilers, Trent. Oh boy, no, it's one potential revenue stream for us. We're also looking at hosting services potentially, because we have access to very cheap power and reliable power, and because we know that the hosting gig at the moment is not, I wouldn't even call it an industry, is just loaded with irreputable folks, and I've heard nightmare stories from people on the ground who've been trying to host. Somebody told me they found a dead bird in one of their machines, and they told me that the host didn't plug them in, but then once they got their machine back a year later, after trying everything in their power to get their machine back, they were actually using the machine themselves and mining with it. Yeah, literally everything like that. Even in the United States, it's full of scammers, and not, we feel that we have a good shot of being the reputable face for the hosting industry to provide a viable service and interface for that.
You took my next question out of my mouth. My other question was, do you have any other revenue streams other than mining Bitcoin? And will you allow other companies or individuals to host ASIC miners in your facilities? You read my mind.
It also looks really pretty on the balance sheet for institutional investors, because when you're mining, right, there's two factors that you cannot ever predict: the price of Bitcoin and the hash rate. You don't know what they will be in the future. You don't know what they're going to be tomorrow, let alone in 5 years from now. Mm-hmm. When you're hosting, you can put that on a spreadsheet. You say, we are making X amount of cents per kilowatt hour consistently on every mining rig that we do over this amount of time, multiply that. That way the institutional investor knows, if I put $100 million to work, this is what I can expect to get back from it. And that doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin will be or the hash rate. So in reaching the further parts of our roadmap, it just makes a lot of sense.
One of the other sides to that is when you said in our facilities, our own miners will not be in the same building or the same container as a customer's that we host, because we don't want a conflict of interest if there's some power issues or something, just looking ahead. And so we want to make sure that we focus and that they know that their best interest is in our heart and our minds, so we can make sure that they get taken care of.
Yeah, and like to that end, to kind of wrap it up there, like it is going to be another service that we offer because it is needed in this industry. But at the same time, we don't want to rush into it because of the issues that other customers have had, and we want to be the standard bearer. So we want to make sure that customer experience is going to be the best one possible before we
100%,
the service.
100%.
Like so, I mean, it's absolutely spot on what Trent said. Like whatever we can do to deliver that customer experience, that's what we're going to do.
We want to be the GOAT.
Which one? I've got plenty of goats here. Which one are you talking about?
And good luck getting Trent on your back for some yoga.
You never know. If you guys have this crazy rave in the desert, who knows?
Yeah.
So, that's great that you guys are trying to be the reputable company out here to help individuals and companies with mining in your facilities, and you want to focus on really great customer experience for people involved and make sure that things are done above board, because there's so much shady stuff going on out here in crypto all the time. The bane of my existence, I spend so much time navigating that and doing due diligence to try to dodge those mines in this minefield of this emerging unregulated space we're in. So that's good to hear. And I hope it all goes well in that regard, because I will probably have plenty of people to send your way. I'm always looking for reputable companies to recommend to other companies, or people who are looking to put their devices somewhere and they don't know who to trust. And it's like, this company isn't even incorporated anywhere. Should I really give them my $10,000 machine? I don't know. So good to
appreciate
know,
that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So are you guys planning on hosting any of your ASIC devices in anybody else's facilities for diversification or geo-redundancy? Is that on your roadmap?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
It's a distinct possibility.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the opportunity comes up and it makes sense for us to deploy a set of miners quicker than otherwise, then yeah, that's definitely something that we would entertain.
All right, good to know. Yeah, that's always a big one. Now, I want to talk about your facility really quickly. There are some pictures here of the first site in West Texas with the on-site substation ready to plug and play. Is there a maximum amount of power that the power company is going to allow you to draw on this property?
Yes, there is. Right now, it's about 5 megawatts. The good news is that this power company has multiple locations. And so we can duplicate the 5 megawatts here and other locations. We can also, after a study is done, expand this location and add another 30, 40, 50 megawatts to each substation. So, yeah, there's a lot of when we say we have access to a lot of power, that's an understatement. We have access to a lot.
So if you guys butt up against that 5 megawatts at that first site, you guys can immediately continue scaling, you're saying?
Yeah, on multiple locations, which would be the quickest deployment. And then the study would take probably about a year to do. So while we're duplicating, cookie cutter other locations just like this, we can also do the study to expand the existing location.
All right, good to know. So starting with this first 5 megawatt site, and then once you hit that limit, you've got other similar sites very close by with 5 megawatt limits that you will just duplicate. And as you start scaling in that fashion, you will start the study of the grid usage there for those properties, which could take like a year approximately to figure out if you can deliver 30, 50 or more megawatts to those locations and upgrade from 5 megawatts to potentially tenfold that.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And that's just no, you're right. You're right on. So the other thing too is this is what we call on-grid system. So we also are working with off-grid, which would be like you've heard about the flared gas or stranded gas.
I love it. I love flared gas.
So we can go out and
yeah.
So we're working right now. We're negotiating with some very large locations to expand into an off-grid site as well.
That's amazing. Flare gas, Bitcoin mining is something I wholeheartedly believe in as a way to capture wasted energy, and also present an opportunity to also scrub those fumes before they go out in the atmosphere. You can actually capture it because you're going to be putting it through a system to utilize it. So I think flare gas mining is one of the greatest things for Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is one of the greatest things for flare gas mining. Now, Doug, I know you work in natural gas. You have a long career working in the energy field there in Texas. So do you already know of different flare gas mining sites that you would potentially be able to expand to when you guys are ready to go that route?
Yes, we're already in negotiation with them.
Oh, wow.
We like flexibility. So
yes, flexibility is key.
We have lots of access to
and expansion.
Massive amounts of business. Yeah. We're ready for growth. Anybody ready to, throw down $1 million, we'll put it to work for them real quick.
Well, I would say that we could even deploy 100 million within a few months if we had it.
Yep.
Wow.
100%.
That's amazing. So that just shows how important those connections are when everything is plugged in all aspects. That energy, monetary and otherwise, can flow. So very cool, very exciting stuff. The flare gas mining really excites me, and I could pontificate on the philosophical benefits of that for humankind for hours, but I won't put you through that. Maybe a little bit.
I could listen to it for hours, honestly.
Well,
we're on the same page.
It's amazing how much energy is being burnt from flare gas sites. I think every year it's enough to power the entire continent of Africa that is being burnt into the air. So if you could capture all that energy and put it to use, you can find efficiencies and save energy elsewhere, like our traditional monetary system that, Bitcoin is coming here, providing economic opportunities for people and providing economic opportunities in areas that might not otherwise have them or be very hard to reach. and doing it in a very efficient manner because you don't have to run thousands of miles of power lines through rough, uninhabited terrain, sometimes without roads of any kind to build.
Yep.
So I don't know. I love flare gas.
That's been a challenge. I mean, Trent,
I know you went further. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, I was going to say, Trent mentioned earlier about grid stabilization. And I think that's probably the most misunderstood benefits of crypto mining. But as you said, we also provide that flared gas or the stranded gas. Because if you've got a well that you've already drilled a well, but yet you can't produce because you've got gas in that well and you can't produce the gas because there's no pipeline, and we can deploy, these containers full of machines that can turn it into something very good for the environment is, I think, another thing that most people don't really grasp the benefits of.
Yeah.
Plus the landowners, they're not making any money on it. Gas that's just sitting there being burned off. And then we have the ability to take it out of the air and then turn it into something that would allow them to make some money, and it would allow our investors to make money as well. And it's green.
It's extremely green. It's got like a negative footprint.
100%.
Especially, Doug, like you said, you can actually clean the exhaust, the fumes from that. You can run that through a system and a generator, and you can put a scrubber on that, and you can capture the exhaust fumes and take out any heavy metals, methane.
Here's another thing you don't know. Is we have the ability to hook a machine up that purifies the oil that we use, so we can use it over and over again and just have to clean the filters. So it's a win-win. You don't have to get oil every time either for the generators.
Wow, interesting.
Yep. Yeah, it's huge.
See, this team, man, this team.
I'm gonna without giving any serious spoilers on the back end, and actually I think that maybe Trent and Badger are not even aware of yet, but we're also doing some research on additional sources of renewable energy, which obviously you never know with these things. Research is research, and I'm sure you have experience with that as well. But I believe have a good chance of making oil and gas and even wind energy, possibly even nuclear energy, obsolete at some point in the future. And this research is being funded by Bitcoin mining in a very real sense.
Really? What, do you got the alpha on that one? What's the source? What source is that?
I'm gonna keep my lips sealed. More than that, I can't really say at the moment.
Well, I just scheduled a meeting for us tomorrow, Matty. So
yeah. Look, I mean, like I said, there could be nothing there, but and I don't want to give anything away. But look, this is a research that we're doing on the ground, and I believe that it has potential to power the entire continent of Africa very, very cheaply and efficiently, and cleanly.
Wow. Well, that sounds amazing, and there are so many ways you could, especially when you have the miners in a container. So the fact that you guys are going that route for your infrastructure, having the ASIC miners in containers that are quickly deployable in different areas, means you can get a crane, throw one on a truck on a stake bed, and drive it on out to a flare gas site in the middle of the desert of West Texas. Or you could put it on a container ship over to Africa, to whatever magical source you speak of, and immediately deploy that capital and have that.
To go to Africa, no, we could deploy it anywhere. I'm just using Africa as an example of a place that could really use some cheap and reliable renewable energy.
Yeah. And geothermal. I mean, you could take those containers and drop them near a volcano or some kind of heat vent. And especially up in the northern, like the Nordic countries and Canada, Greenland, Iceland, where you have like all there, it's cold, so it keeps the machines cool. And at the same time, there is heat being there that you can heat there from these vents and things like that, and volcanoes that you can use to generate electricity and get even more efficiencies in those situations. That's just wild what you could do with Bitcoin mining in a container. I love this stuff, though. It's the future, and it's revolutionizing so many industries. Most people have no idea this is even happening either.
So staying on that same note of green energy, Doug would like to give us another special announcement. So go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of people have heard about in Texas is during the summer when it gets really hot and we're running low on electricity, power prices go up. And what we have permission is to put a field of solar panels next to our location so we can switch to solar when the power is expensive or if they're running low, that we don't have to shut down. We can keep going.
Wow. So you'll be utilizing, you said wind and solar in those instances?
Well, right now, just solar.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to wind, that's a whole different situation. We won't be able to build our own field of wind turbines, but we can build our own field of solar panels. You'll see in one of the pictures, it's pretty wide open and flat out there in West Texas. So for us to build a solar farm out there, it's not a hard deal.
But we do assume that most of a lot of power is coming from wind anyways. Is that correct?
Yeah. So West Texas, a lot of wind blowing out there. That's why Texas is one of the states with the most wind power generation. And so we are nearby. You can't see it in the picture, but we're not too far from a huge wind farm. So a lot of times, some of the energy will be coming from the wind already.
All right, good to know. So in the future plans, if I understand this correctly, you will have your own solar farm to power your facilities during the times when the power provider controlling the grid that you have a special deal with might throttle your power down during peak times, which you've agreed to because it gives you a great electricity rate during the whole course of things. So to power your facilities during those down throttling periods, you will have you'll be building out your own solar farms for those situations. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. I think another caveat to that, it's not just because they told me that last year there would be just one partial day that they would have throttled us back. But the challenge that you also have during those hot Texas summer days is that the price of electricity goes up.
Oh, okay.
Because, supply and demand, right? High school economics. When the demand is extremely high and everything is running, but they're running real low on extra spare capacity, the price goes up. And so that's when we can also switch over to solar farm, our own.
I see. And would you also be able to sell that electricity back to the electricity?
Well, they haven't given us the permission to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't given us permission to do that. And, obviously we've asked, but, at the end of the day, we're looking out for ourselves as well. And we want to make sure that we're as profitable as possible. And so, the ability and the permission to put a solar farm right next to our facility is actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Do you think it would be comparable, after you factor in the initial outlay for the solar panels and the infrastructure, with all that factored in, do you think the electricity rate generated by those solar panels would be comparable to the deal that you're getting from the electricity provider?
Yeah, we've actually looked at that. And so we had to make sure that if we're going to put 1 or 2 megawatts worth of solar panels next to us, that, the investment in the panels will make sense based on us being shut down or the price going up. Good question.
Good to know.
It's not at the forefront of our minds, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we have that option. The model that we run gives us between a year and a half to 2 years before they pay for themselves. So we have other scaling options that are probably going to be a lot more readily available. And we also have other sites where that might be more viable. So it's certainly something that we're thinking about on our minds, but I wouldn't say that this is our plan. We're going to build the solar panels or anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Flexibility.
There you go.
Just that's
leave no stone unturned.
It's the name of the game. Like everything we've done, we're flexible. We have contingencies. I mean, yeah.
It's always good to have options.
Think outside the box when you're in a fluid industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
So, speaking of scaling, I have a question about that. Will you most likely scale through future fundraisers, or will you be rolling over, your profits back into further investments and expanding out your capital that way? What's your strategy for scaling financially?
Yeah, so we actually have, because of the vast amount of power available to us, we actually have no danger of over raising money. It's only a matter of what valuation we accept for the money that we're taking in. But also there's other models of taking in money that don't require equity whatsoever, such as lending, bonds, or alternative lending programs, all of which we're thoroughly involved in and are in the process of. These are type of things that generally take more time and will become more readily available to us as we're turned on and have a few facilities behind us. Those institutions tend to open up their books. So that's in our roadmap. But the idea is that we really have no upper limits on the amount that we can raise. And certainly, the profits are going to be reinvested out the beginning, because that's what we're going to need to jumpstart our growth. But it will be, like I said, a consistent search for more power, more hash rate, more funding, until we start to reach our goals.
Okay, so you're exploring all forms of financing, more crowdfunding, different raises, debt financing, anything basically.
They're already in the works. It's not just we're exploring. These are already in process. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So you have no upper limit on the power there. So it's basically pour as much gasoline on this fire as you can as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
We are prepared for growth.
That's a great problem to have. If you could call that a problem, though. That's a great position to be in.
That's a solution.
Yeah.
I think Maddie has said it very well. We haven't sat around for 2 years spinning our thumbs. We've actually been clawing, scratching, turning over everything we could imagine, dream of, thinking outside the box. How can we make this thing grow and work? And yeah, it's pretty phenomenal, some of the tools we have in our little toolbox.
Yeah, and we feel like we're in the perfect moment right now, in the perfect storm, because you've got the price of Bitcoin itching to go up. You've got the prices of your miners that are at, the lowest they've been. You've got the market primed and ready. People are starting to talk, and the media buzz is happening. You've got, two of the largest companies in the world pumping up Bitcoin. You've got billionaires that are talking about it. It's the perfect time to get in for investment. It's the perfect time to get in to mine. It's the perfect time to be a part of what we're doing and get after it. So, and we're prepared and ready for growth right now.
Yeah. And I'm like Maddie, I've got that countdown basically going for the halving, and I basically have 6 months to stack as much Bitcoin as I can.
You can continue stacking, man. There's no.
I know. Yeah.
Stacking.
But like Trent was saying, this is like the ideal time where things are still undervalued, and it's trying to pop its head back up to go to where it should be. So I want to get as much of this while it's undervalued as I can.
Timing is everything, then.
Yeah, I really felt like we were a responsible company because we didn't jump out there in the middle of the bull market and say, hey, here we are. There's a bunch of people that lost because everything they invested in was expensive. And they've got miners sitting on the ground right now looking for energy. And that's why we're in a really good spot right now, because we didn't overextend. And that's something that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people in that position from the last bull market that are just going to be having to wait a whole cycle, wait 4 years before they can get back to their initial investment, essentially. Yep. So
absolutely,
this is the ideal time, in my opinion. Bear market, just start making your positions. Not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing. So yeah. Now I kind of want to ask some due diligence questions. I always ask this. How does the team, the company, the directors, how do you guys benefit financially from this? How do you guys make money in this? Obviously, we've all got self-interest here, and I want to make sure if this thing's successful, everybody wins. So do you guys have you guys issued shares of this shares to yourselves or the directors? What's that situation like?
Yep. So that is basically the nail on the head. Out of the entire team, most everybody is on strictly sweat equity basis. And everybody on the team also is on a vesting schedule. So that means that, that they need, nobody's able to just say, okay, I showed up, here's my equity, and walk away. Everybody needs to continuously be providing value for the team in order to get to take those shares home with them.
Okay. And with the Form C, it has like the initial cap table, and how are the shares distributed right now among people, among directors?
Yeah. So you can kind of see it on the Form C, but again, we did a little bit of financial engineering to complete the merger that we mentioned at the beginning with Badgerland. We had a bit of shares as well in our treasury, which are basically that have not been allocated yet. So we were able to utilize those for both this offering, the safe offering, and for completing the merger. So we still have dry powder as far as that's concerned.
Okay. And with the amount of shares outstanding currently, and with what you guys are issuing to the public, and then with what you guys are planning to potentially issue in the future on future raises, what is the risk of dilution for a shareholder? So if I'm holding, I don't know, like a 100 shares. I put $100 in, say I get 100 shares. I'm just making up because I know this is a safe thing, so it's hard to say exactly. But let's say I have 100 shares. Could I potentially be diluted later on from another crowdfunding or a future fund raising event?
It is a possibility, but this is a last resort for us. I mean, literally, we would prefer always to take dilution, which is a founder-only dilution, rather than to start diluting investors themselves. And I can say that dilution, it can happen in any investment.
Yes.
But it's usually a happy problem because it means that your shares have grown in value enough that you're willing to part ways with some. Sometimes it even comes with a cash benefit saying, sorry, you were diluted, but here's some money that's going to make it more than worth your while, or, well over your return on investment or something like that. But I wouldn't, on the note of being flexible always, I'm not going to rule it out. Mm-hmm. But it would be literally for me a last resort.
Yeah. And I know it's an important tool for managing a company, and it, in certain situations, especially with acquisitions or capital outlays, you can sometimes generate a lot of capital by doing that. And if it potentially might benefit everybody more so to do that than to not, it might make sense. So in your opinion, Madi, do you think you guys have like a shareholder focused strategy for shareholder value with how you guys are managing this?
It is always the first thing on our minds. When we start thinking about the incentivizations and the benefits, we're always thinking of the shareholders first. In every board meeting that we've ever had, when we're faced with these decisions, we've always put the shareholder first, and we will always continue to do so.
All right, good to know. So that's basically my main question there. And my next question, speaking of shareholders, what's your communication plan for shareholders? So say I have 100 shares and I'm just twiddling my thumbs, wondering what's going on with Quantum Expeditions, Bitcoin mining. How will you guys communicate with me?
I can see us having a pretty robust communication plan. I mean, Madi's got his own newsletter already, so he's got that infrastructure that we'll probably utilize for Quantum as well, having our own newsletter.
Badger, we send out regular investor updates as well that don't go out to the full newsletter.
Oh, yeah, cool. And then, so things like that. Then we got Twitter. Our Discord is going to be big, so we'll have
real-time update. Yeah, literally. With the Discord is an amazing tool because people can we're just sitting there on the voice chat all day, so people can just come in and ask us questions anytime they want to. And I have people from the seed investor who call me up on Telegram on a regular basis, and they just want to, shoot the shit and talk about what's going on with the company. And I'm so happy to share with them because I know they have a vested interest in this succeeding as well, and they have a lot of value to add. So to me, like even talking it over with our investors is a huge tool. And I'm really looking forward to having a community that we can rely on, in order to crowdsource those type of quandaries and decisions, and these type of questions that you never even thought of. And then sometimes they come up, and then you say, okay, well, what do the investors want, or what do the investors think about this? So I'm looking forward to utilizing that as a resource. But to date, we've been sending out regular updates to our seed investors through the email as a BCC, and then of course, as Justin mentioned, the Quantum Economics newsletter, which is, it's usually about the markets and the market movements, what happened today, what happened yesterday, why is it happening, and stuff like that, and of course, other projects that I'm working on.
That's great. That's a fantastic communication plan, better than I usually hear. So that's great. I love the frequent shareholder emails, and also you guys have multiple newsletters, plus you guys have Twitter, Discord, Telegram, all of that. I am in your Discord server as well. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can reach out to me there. I'm also in my Discord server. So if you're not already, discord.gg/YaBonks, the funnest Discord server in all of DeFi. And I will actually have as
well. So I'm on your server too, if anybody wants to reach me there.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to make a channel in my Discord server for Quantum Expeditions, and I'll post all your links in there. And if anybody in my server has a question, they can ask right in my server or go to your server and ask you guys there too. So
thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. That's not coming lightly.
Of course, I always want to make sure my audience has as much information as possible, especially when there's money involved, right? Like everybody wants to know what's going on with their stuff. And it always makes me feel better when there is a responsive team at the helm willing to communicate and support investors and potential future investors that are curious. So I'm going to make all that information to your socials available in the description of this video on YouTube. So you guys check the description. You can find all this stuff there. I basically... I'm satisfied with all the questions I've asked here. I think most of my other questions you've already answered without even me asking. So are there any other things that you guys would like to say before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I think one of the funny things is, and I first of all, I so appreciate your long form interview style. I cannot compliment you enough. I've been interviewed literally thousands of times in my lifetime, and I've never seen somebody come in to an interview with this level of research. And I appreciate it, and I want to say thank you, because it gives us, you asking the difficult questions gives us a chance to shine. So that's pretty awesome. And the unique thing about this interview is, and that's never happened to me before, ever, is that we haven't even talked about price and what's happened on the charts, because that's what everybody wants to know about. What's happening tomorrow? What's going to happen to Bitcoin in the next 5 minutes? Oh my gosh. And this is one of the things that, like, I pivoted from, as an analyst, being on the television and talking about the markets, to being a builder. And I'm completely thrilled that we can go through a full interview. But what's happening on the charts is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that's all I can say about that.
It is. I think we're at $34,000, almost $35,000. And the reason I didn't even ask that stuff is because I'm assuming everybody at this point is already bullish on Bitcoin. Like the bull market's coming. We're all going to be rich if we play our cards right. So I'm just trying to figure out how the vehicles work that I might take to get there. Aside from just Bitcoin itself, there are other ways I can get there with additional leverage. And I want to have that diversified into my portfolio.
100%, man. It's been, I believe, on the books, the longest bear market in crypto history. And I'm so happy that it's finally turning around, and everything that we worked for building in the bear market, we can finally start to think about how that's come into fruition.
Absolutely. And I love entrepreneurship and building things, building businesses, and experimenting with, an emerging sector. And that's where some of the greatest value in our lifetimes might be found, at least historically. So I feel like we are in that time right now, and we are in that sector. And that's why I didn't even talk about Bitcoin or the price of it, because in my head, we're already all in the know on that. We already know where it's going, at least very confidently. And so that to me is a given. Now, not financial advice. Obviously, do your own research and stuff. If you haven't been orange pilled yet, go get orange pilled. Go watch some Max Kaiser or Sailor or a million others. Go read the Bitcoin Standard. Go to YouTube University for a while, and think you'll like what you have to find. get yourself one of these, get yourself a cold wallet of some kind, and learn how to start self-custodying your own Bitcoin. And then you'll really understand the potential behind some of these value propositions with companies that are building around this incredible asset that is revolutionary, in my opinion. So
amazing.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say? Did I could just pontificate on this forever. So you gotta. What do you guys think? Do you think we covered Quantum Expeditions, Bitcoin mining thoroughly today?
As thoroughly as it could possibly ever be covered, honestly. and I look forward to doing another update in a year from now.
Right.
We can do a side by side and see how that goes.
That would be super exciting, and I would love to come out to Texas at some point and see what you guys have going on in person.
You better come to the rave, man. You better come to the rave.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm a teetotaler. I don't drink or anything, but I'll be slamming back coffees and green teas. I'll be getting wild. It'll be a great time. So I'm there, man, for sure.
Yeah. I've never been to a rave, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you at a rave, Doug. That'll be great.
I think I have to do this.
Yes. I love it. So, I think the future is bright for Bitcoin, and I hope the future is bright for you guys and Quantum Expeditions, and also Badgerland Mining Club. Just to reiterate, is now officially merging and becoming a part of Quantum Expeditions.
Yep.
So, huge news there. Giant acquisition.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
You think we had a great team before? It's a really great team now.
I totally agree.
It was exactly the piece of the puzzle that was missing. I promise you. Just like we needed a good COO, and he just came in right there to fill the position. And I can say that in the time that we've been working together, I couldn't be happier. Justin is an amazing addition to the team, and it just ties the whole company together, man.
Don't ever underestimate a Badger.
Oh, never.
You'll find out.
Badger. He's a tough dude. Yeah,
they'll get that honey no matter how many times they get stung in the face. So, pound for pound, I think they're the toughest animal out there. Yeah, don't mess with a badger.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
don't mess with the badger.
And if you guys didn't know, Justin is known as Badger out here in the crypto world.
Yeah.
So I think I agree. I think that was a great decision and a great addition to your team. I've known Justin for a while now, and I know a lot of people that have known him for even longer that always say great things about him and his integrity. And I always like when teams are building around integrity. I think that bodes well for the long-term potential of a company, and especially when this is a long-term kind of a play, right? This isn't a 3-month or a 3-week DeFi flip, which I cover sometimes on my channel. I love those plays. I'm a degen, right? But at the same time, I also want to have some longer-term investments. I think this might be one of them. So, all right, you guys.
I have a DeFi company as well. We can talk about it on a different interview.
What's that?
I said I have a DeFi company as well. It's a completely separate project. We can talk about that a different time.
Absolutely, and send me a DM. Let's get into that. Let's get into that. I could talk about that all day. So, you guys, thank you so much for your time. Doug, Trent, Justin, Maddie, you guys are full of knowledge, and it seems like you have something very exciting in the works. I wish you guys the best, and everybody who made it this far in the interview, you probably know more about this company than 99.999% of the people out there. So good for you. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when these videos drop so you can get this information before anybody else. Thank you all so much for your time and attention. And hey, thank you guys for coming on here, putting in all this work with me to make this great video.
Thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, guys.
Consummate professional.
I'm trying. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.